Imagine this, every single morning, the moment you open your eyes, you're faced with two choices. You can either drift into your day on autopilot, checking your phone, reacting to problems, letting the world dictate how you feel, or you can take control of your mind, your emotions, and your direction before the world even touches you. The truth is, the way you start your morning shapes everything. It shapes how you think, how you act, how you lead, and ultimately how you live. Most people wake up and immediately drown themselves in stress, distraction, and noise. They wonder why they're stuck, why they feel unmotivated, why life feels heavy. But high performers, the people who create extraordinary lives, they do something different. They ask themselves the right questions, the kind of questions that wake up the giant inside them, the kind of questions that pull out their best self before the day even begins. Today, I'm going to give you 7 powerful questions that can completely transform your mornings. And I don't mean little tricks or empty rituals. I'm talking about questions that will rewire your mindset, ignite your energy, give you clarity and purpose every single day. If you truly listen, if you truly commit to asking yourself these questions every morning, I promise you this, you will not live the same life a month from now. So stay with me. Don't just hear these words, take them in, because one of these questions could be the exact shift you've been waiting for, the exact spark that reignites your hunger and helps you live with a fire you haven't felt in years. When you wake up in the morning, the very first thought that crosses your mind sets the tone for everything that follows. If you open your eyes and immediately think about the bills you have to pay, the problems you have to face, the mistakes you made yesterday, your body reacts. Your shoulders get heavy, your energy drops, and before you've even stepped out of bed, you're already carrying the weight of the world. But what if instead you shifted that focus? What if the very first thing you trained your mind to do was to find what's good, what's right, what's already working in your life? That's the power of asking yourself, what am I truly grateful for today? Gratitude isn't just a nice idea, it's a force. It's one of the most powerful emotional states a human being can step into. You can't be fearful and grateful at the same time. You can't be angry and grateful at the same time. You can't be overwhelmed and grateful at the same time. Gratitude dissolves those emotions instantly. It takes the walls down. It changes the meaning of what's happening around you. And the beautiful part is, it doesn't matter how much or how little you have in your life right now. Gratitude isn't about your conditions. Gratitude is about your focus. Think about it. 2 people can live in the exact same circumstances, facing the exact same challenges, yet one person feels trapped and the other feels alive. Why? Because one person is focused on everything that's missing. The other is focused on what's already there. And I promise you this, whatever you focus on expands. If you wake up every morning and your mind is trained to see what's wrong, you're going to find it. You'll stack it, you'll pile it up. You'll convince yourself life is working against you. But if you discipline yourself to ask, what am I truly grateful for right now? Your brain will go searching like a heat-seeking missile for the things that bring you joy, love, strength, peace. Now, don't confuse this with some shallow, positive thinking exercise. Gratitude isn't about pretending life is perfect or ignoring the challenges in front of you. It's about acknowledging the challenge, but refusing to let it own you. Gratitude reminds you that even in the midst of struggle, you still have breath in your lungs. You still have people who care about you. You still have opportunities to grow. You still have a future worth fighting for. Gratitude is fuel. I remember talking to someone who told me, I don't have anything to be grateful for right now. My life is falling apart. I said, hold on. You're talking to me, right? That means you're alive. That means you have another shot, another day, another chance to turn it around. Don't you dare tell me you have nothing. Sometimes we forget how much we've already been given because we're so obsessed with what we haven't achieved yet. If you can't appreciate what's in front of you, you'll never value what you're chasing. And here's the thing, gratitude changes not just how you feel, but how you act. When you're grateful, you make better decisions. You treat people differently. You move with a lighter step. You stop waiting for someday to be happy and start living like today already matters. Gratitude sharpens your perspective. You start noticing things you used to overlook. The smile of a stranger, the support of a friend, the fact that your body carries you through the day even when you don't treat it perfectly. These little moments stack up and they change your state completely. Science has caught up with this too. They've done studies showing that people who practice gratitude every day are healthier, more resilient, more productive. Their immune systems are stronger, they recover from setbacks faster, they even sleep better. And none of that comes from outside. It comes from a shift within. It comes from deciding every morning before the world has a chance to distract you that you're going to tune into what's good. So how do you do it? It's simple. The moment you wake up, before you reach for your phone, you replay yesterday's worries before you let your to-do list suffocate you. Pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I grateful for right now? And don't just rattle off a generic answer. Don't just say, grateful for my family, my job, my health, like you're checking boxes. Stop. Feel it. Relive it. If you say you're grateful for someone you love, close your eyes and picture their face. Hear their voice. Remember a moment they were there for you. Let that memory flood your body. If you say you're grateful for your health, don't just say the word, stand up, stretch, feel the strength in your muscles, feel the gift of movement. Gratitude is only real when you don't just think it, you feel it. Because here's what happens when you truly feel grateful: your entire nervous system changes, your biochemistry changes, you breathe deeper, your body relaxes, your heart opens up. From that state, you approach your day differently. You're no longer coming from lack, you're coming from abundance. You're no longer coming from stress, you're coming from strength. That's the gift you give yourself when you start your day with gratitude. Now, let me be honest with you. Gratitude is easy when everything's going your way, when the money's flowing, when the relationships are strong, when life feels smooth. Of course, it's easy to feel grateful, but the real power of gratitude shows up when things aren't easy, when life punches you in the gut, when you don't know how you're going to make it through. The storm feels endless. That's when gratitude becomes a weapon, because in that moment, if you can still find something, anything to appreciate, you take back control. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and you step into the mindset of a creator. You remind yourself that no matter how dark it feels, there's still light. And sometimes gratitude isn't about the big things. It's about the small things that anchor you. Maybe it's the sound of laughter. Maybe it's the way the sun feels on your skin. Maybe it's the fact that even though you've failed, you still have the courage to try again. Gratitude doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be real. And when it's real, it will transform you. So I challenge you tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, ask yourself, what am I truly grateful for today? And don't stop at one answer. Go deeper. Push yourself to find 3 things, 5 things, 10 things. Train your brain to search, to dig, to uncover the treasures you've been ignoring. If you do this consistently, you won't just change your mornings, you'll change your entire life, because gratitude is the foundation. It's the state that allows you to access your best self. And when you live from that state, every other question you ask yourself becomes more powerful. When you wake up and start your day, one of the most dangerous traps you can fall into is starting without clarity. If you don't define your target, spend your entire day reacting instead of creating. You'll chase every little distraction, every little demand, and by the time the sun goes down, you'll feel exhausted, but you won't feel fulfilled. That's because being busy is not the same as being productive. There's a massive difference between motion and progress, and the only way to know the difference is to ask yourself every morning, what's my highest priority right now? This single question can save you years of wasted effort, because most people are living scattered. They try to do everything, please everyone, fix everything, and as a result, they dilute their energy. Your focus is spread too thin, your power is weak. But when you narrow it down to what truly matters, your energy multiplies. You can do less and achieve more, because now your actions are aligned with your purpose. Think about this for a moment. You look back on your life, you're not going to remember the hundreds of little tasks that ate up your time. You're going to remember the meaningful moments, the breakthroughs, the bold moves that changed the direction of your life. Those moments didn't happen by accident. They happened because you focused. They happened because at some point you decided that something was more important than everything else, and you poured yourself into it completely. That's what this question forces you to do. It demands that you separate the urgent from the important. It forces you to decide what deserves your full attention today. Now, here's the trap most people fall into. They confuse other people's priorities with their own. The phone rings, the notifications buzz, the emails pile up, and suddenly your day is hijacked by everybody else's agenda. You're putting out fires, but none of them are yours. You're running fast, but you're running in the wrong direction. You're achieving a to-do list, but you're not creating a life. That's why this question is so critical. It pulls you back to center. It makes you stop and say, wait, it's the one thing that, if I accomplish it today, will make the biggest difference in my life. What's the thing that moves the needle, the thing that matters most? And here's the key. It doesn't always have to be something monumental. Sometimes your highest priority might be making a crucial phone call that sets up a new opportunity. Sometimes it's sitting down and giving your full attention to your child or your partner, because deep down you know that relationship needs you today. Sometimes it's finishing that project you've been putting off, because it's the one thing that will free up your energy and stop draining you. The highest priority is not about volume, it's about impact. It's about what action will create the greatest ripple effect in your life if you commit to it fully today. When you live without priorities, you live in reaction. And when you live in reaction, you never feel in control. You always feel like life is happening to you instead of for you. But when you wake up and ask yourself this question, you take back control, you decide, you create, you become intentional with your time, and intention is where transformation begins. Give you an example. I once met a man who was constantly overwhelmed. He was busy from the moment he woke up until the moment he went to bed. But no matter how hard he worked, he always felt like he was falling behind. He asked me why he couldn't get ahead. I said, show me your list. He pulled out this massive list of things to do, page after page. I said, that's your problem right there. You've convinced yourself that everything on this list is equal. It's not. Out of everything on this page, only 1 or 2 things actually matter. The rest is noise. And as long as you keep drowning in the noise, you'll never create the music. That hit him. And when he started each day by asking, It's my highest priority. Everything changed. His energy shifted. His results multiplied. His stress dropped. Not because life got easier, but because his focus got sharper. So let me ask you, when was the last time you got brutally honest with yourself about your priorities? Not the story you tell other people, not the list you scribble down to make yourself feel organized, but the real honest answer. What's the one thing in your life right now that deserves your full focus, but you've been avoiding because you've been too busy with everything else? You already know what it is. Deep down, you've known for a long time. And the truth is, till you face it, until you commit to it, you're going to keep spinning in circles. This is why every morning this question matters, because priorities shift. Yesterday's top priority might not be today's. Life moves fast. If you're not constantly checking in, constantly recalibrating, you drift. And drifting is dangerous because you don't notice it at first. You think you're still on course. One day you look up and realize you're miles away from where you wanted to be. Asking this question every morning is how you stay on track. It's your compass. It's your anchor. It's how you make sure that when you pour your energy into something, actually builds the life you want instead of stealing it. And let me be clear, deciding on your highest priority doesn't just give you clarity, it gives you power. Because once you know what matters most, you stop hesitating, you stop overthinking, you stop scattering your energy, you become decisive, you move with purpose. And people around you feel it, they respect it. They follow it, clarity breeds confidence, confidence creates momentum. And momentum is what separates those who dream from those who actually live their dreams. So tomorrow morning, don't roll out of bed and wander into your day blind. Don't let the world decide what your day will look like. Stop, breathe, ask yourself, it's my highest priority right now? And then commit to it with everything you've got. Because if you can master this one habit, you'll never again have to wonder why you're so busy but not fulfilled. You'll know. You'll know that every day you're moving closer to the life you were meant to live. Every morning when you wake up, there's a question that has the power to change the entire trajectory of your day, your week, your month, even your life. And it's not, what do I have to do today? That's where most people get trapped. They wake up and immediately think about their to-do list, the errands, the meetings, the obligations, and they drag themselves through the day, hoping to check enough boxes to feel accomplished. But here's the truth, your life will never transform because of a list of tasks. Your life transforms because of who you decide to become. That's why the question is, do I need to become today to achieve my goals? This question is so powerful because it takes the focus off of doing and puts it on being. Anyone can do a task, anyone can push paper, answer calls, or tick boxes. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, if you want to create a life most people only dream about, you have to shift your identity. You have to ask yourself, am I showing up as the person capable of creating the future I say I want? Because the truth is, your results will never exceed your identity. If you see yourself as average, you will produce average results. If you see yourself as someone who always quits, you'll find a way to quit. But if you see yourself as disciplined, resourceful, relentless, unstoppable, you'll act in alignment with that identity, and your life will start to mirror it. Think about it. Every goal you've set requires a version of you that's different from who you are right now. Otherwise, you'd already have it. If you want to be healthier, you can't just say, eat better and go to the gym. You have to become someone who values their body, who treats their health like a gift, who refuses to settle for low energy and weakness. If you want to build wealth, it's not enough to say harder. You have to become someone who thinks strategically, who makes courageous financial decisions, who's disciplined enough to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term growth. If you want to deepen your relationships, you can't just say, I'll spend more time with them. You have to become someone who listens, who shows up with presence, who brings love and patience even when it's not easy. This is the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Dreamers focus on what they want to do someday. Achievers focus on who they need to be today. And that identity shift starts with this simple question every morning. Because when you ask, do I need to become? You hold yourself accountable to a higher standard. You stop living as a prisoner of your past and start living as the creator of your future. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone says, want to run a marathon. They buy the shoes, they download the training plan, they make the playlist. But 2 weeks later, they've quit. Why? Because deep down, they never saw themselves as a runner. They were just someone trying to do the actions of a runner. And when the weather got bad, when they felt sore, when life got in the way, they quit. Because their identity wasn't strong enough to sustain the action. If that same person woke up every morning and said, who do I need to become to finish this race? And the answer was, I need to become a disciplined runner, someone who trains even when it's raining, even when I'm tired, even when I don't feel like it, then the actions would flow naturally. The identity fuels the behavior. That's how it works in every area of life. If you want to change your results, don't start by changing what you do. Start by changing who you are. The beautiful thing is identity isn't fixed. You're not locked into the story you've been telling yourself. You can choose every single morning to step into a new version of you. Maybe yesterday you were someone who procrastinated, but today you can decide to become someone who takes immediate action. Maybe yesterday you were someone who gave into fear, but today you can decide to become someone who acts with courage. Every day is a chance to rewrite the script. Here's the catch. You can't just say the words. You have to embody them. You can't just say, I'm disciplined. You have to act like it. You can't just say, I'm confident. You have to carry yourself that way, speak that way. That way, your brain starts to believe what your body consistently demonstrates. And over time, what was once a conscious effort becomes natural. That's how you hardwire a new identity. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't just ask, what's on my list? Ask, who do I need to be to make today count? And be specific. If your goal is to grow your business, maybe the answer is, I need to be bold enough to make those sales calls I've been avoiding. If your goal is to improve your health, maybe the answer is, I need to be someone who fools my body instead of punishing it. If your goal is to strengthen your marriage, maybe the answer is, I need to be someone who listens deeply instead of just waiting to talk. Whatever the goal, the identity always comes first. Because here's the truth. Your goals don't care about your excuses. Dreams don't care how you feel. They only respond to the person you're becoming. And the more you step into that version of yourself, the faster your external reality will catch up. Life isn't about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you must be so that what you want is inevitable. And I'll tell you this, the most exciting part of life is not achieving the goal. The most exciting part is who you become in the process, because goals come and go. You hit one, then you set another. But the person you become, the stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you, that's permanent. That's the real reward. So don't waste another day just doing, start being. Wake up tomorrow and ask, do I need to become today to achieve my goals? And then step into that identity with everything you've got. Because once you become that person, the life you want will stop being a dream and start becoming your reality. Every single person I've ever met who had a dream, a vision, something they wanted to create in their life, always thought it was the big moments that would get them there. They imagined the breakthrough, the overnight success, the one opportunity that would change everything. But the truth is, dreams are not built in giant leaps. Dreams are built in small, consistent steps that you take every single day. That's why when you wake up, you have to ask yourself, what action today will move me closer to my dream? This question is a game changer because it cuts through the noise. We live in a world where people spend so much time thinking about what they want, talking about what they want, posting about what they want. But when it comes to action, they freeze. They're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, perfect conditions. But there is no perfect time. The only time you'll ever have is today. And the only power you'll ever have is the power to act now. When you ask yourself this question in the morning, you stop waiting and you start moving. Here's the truth. Your dream doesn't need you to take massive action all at once. It needs you to take the next step. That step might feel small, but it's not small, it's everything. Because momentum is built through motion. Once you start moving, the energy builds, and that energy creates opportunities you could never have seen standing still. Think about this. How many people do you know who say they want to write a book, start a business, get in shape, change careers? Years later, they're still saying it. It's not that they're lazy or incapable. It's that they never connected their dream to daily action. They thought it would just happen someday. But someday is not a day of the week. Someday never comes. Today is real. And if you're not doing something today that pulls you closer to your dream, then the truth is you're drifting further away. Here's what I've learned. Clarity without action is nothing but illusion. You can have the clearest vision in the world, but if you don't get up and do something, nothing changes. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And the beautiful part is you don't need to see the whole bridge to start walking. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to see the first step, and then you take it. When you take it, the next one appears. That's how life works. That's how dreams unfold. The question you ask yourself matters, because if you wake up and ask, what do I feel like doing today? You'll stay stuck. If you wake up and ask, what's easiest today? You'll keep avoiding what matters most. But if you ask, action will move me closer to my dream, you're holding yourself accountable to progress. You're forcing yourself to think differently. You're demanding of yourself to step beyond comfort and into growth. Let me give you an example. Say your dream is to build a business. Asking this question might mean making 5 phone calls today that scare you, or creating content that puts your message out there, or studying a skill you need to master. If your dream is health, it might mean making one healthy meal instead of grabbing what's convenient, or going for a run even if it's only for 10 minutes, or drinking water instead of reaching for soda. If your dream is love, it might mean sending that message, making that apology, planning that night, giving your full attention to someone you care about. These actions might feel small in the moment, but stacked day after day, they create a completely different life. Because here's the secret, consistency beats intensity every time. Most people go all in for a day or a week, then burn out and quit. They wait for motivation to return, but motivation is unreliable. What creates results is consistency. Consistency is built by connecting your dream to your daily actions. One step forward every day beats one giant leap once a year. And when you look back after weeks, months, years of consistent steps, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. Let's be honest, it's not easy. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when your excuses sound convincing, days when progress feels invisible. And those are the days when this question matters most. Because when you ask yourself, action will move me closer to my dream, you don't allow yourself to hide. You force yourself to choose progress over comfort. You remind yourself that even the smallest step forward is better than standing still. Here's the thing. Every action, no matter how small, creates evidence. It builds proof in your mind that you're moving forward. When you take action, you start to believe in yourself a little more. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through. And that belief compounds. Action creates confidence. Confidence fuels more action. And before you know it, you've created unstoppable momentum. I remember talking to someone who wanted to transform their life. They told me all the reasons why it wasn't the right time, why they weren't ready, why they needed more clarity. I looked at them and said, what's one action you can take today? Not tomorrow, not next month, today. They paused and then admitted I could make one phone call. I said, then make the call. And that one call opened a door. That door led to another and another. Before long, they were moving faster than they ever thought possible. Not because they had the perfect plan, but because they acted when it mattered. So don't underestimate the power of one step. Don't underestimate the power of one phone call. Work out one conversation, one decision, because that one action might be the domino that tips everything else. But you'll never know unless you take it. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't let yourself drift. Don't let yourself say, get to it later. Stop. Ask yourself, what action today will move me closer to my dream? And then do it, no matter how small, no matter how uncomfortable. Because if you can discipline yourself to take action every single day, your dream won't just stay a dream. It will become your reality. Every morning when you wake up, you're stepping into a battlefield. And most people don't realize it because the battle isn't always loud. It isn't always obvious. The battle is in your mind. The battle is with the excuses, the distractions, the temptations, and the setbacks that are waiting to pull you off course. That's why one of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself at the start of your day is, what could stop me today and how will I overcome it? Well, most people walk into their day blind. They hope for the best, but they're never prepared for the challenges. And when something goes wrong, and it always does, they crumble. They're shocked. They're thrown off balance. They get stuck in frustration and they lose momentum. But achievers think differently. They anticipate. They don't just hope the day goes smoothly. They prepare for the storm before it comes. That preparation is what gives them the edge. Think about it. If you're playing a sport, you don't just practice the perfect plays. You practice the tough scenarios, the mistakes, the comebacks. So when the pressure is on, already know how to respond. Life is the same way. If you don't anticipate the challenges, you'll get blindsided. But if you wake up and say, what could throw me off today? You've already taken away its power. You've seen it before it happens, and that means you're ready. Maybe you know that the second you open your email, you'll get lost in other people's problems. Then your plan for the day is gone. So anticipating that means you decide, I'm not touching my inbox until I've done the one thing that matters most. Maybe you know your energy dips after lunch, and that's when you usually procrastinate. Anticipating that means you schedule your hardest work in the morning and set yourself up with a routine to reset your focus in the afternoon. Maybe you know that one person in your life who drains your energy is going to call you, and every time you pick up, you're derailed for an hour. Anticipating that means you decide ahead of time how you'll handle it, whether that's setting boundaries, shortening the conversation, or not answering until you're ready. This isn't about being negative. It's not about walking around expecting the worst. It's about being realistic and proactive. Because when you anticipate obstacles, they don't knock you down, they strengthen you. They remind you that you are bigger than whatever life throws at you. Let's be honest. Sometimes the biggest obstacles aren't external. Sometimes the biggest thing that will stop you today is you. Your own self-doubt, your own lack of discipline, your own fear of failing, or even more, your fear of succeeding. So when you ask yourself this question, you're also confronting the inner battles. You're saying, what excuse am I most likely to give myself today? And how will I shut it down before it even starts? That's where real growth happens. Because you can't conquer the world if you haven't first conquered your own mind. I've seen people with incredible talent, incredible resources, incredible opportunities fail over and over, not because they didn't have what it takes, because they never anticipated their own patterns. They let the same excuses run their life every day. I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. I don't feel ready. But when you know your pattern, you can disrupt it. If you know that voice is going to show up, you can prepare your response. You can replace it with a stronger voice, a voice that says, I don't negotiate with my excuses. I do what I said I was going to do. This is why the morning is so critical. The morning is when you program your response before the world tests you. Because once you're in the middle of the day, emotions are running high, distractions are everywhere, and it's easy to fall back into old habits. If you've already asked yourself, what could stop me today and how will I overcome it? You've built a mental playbook, you've already rehearsed your response, and when the challenge comes, you don't hesitate, you act. Let me share something with you. Life will never stop throwing obstacles your way. If you're waiting for a smooth road, you'll be waiting forever. The road to your dream will always have bumps, twists, setbacks, and challenges. Those challenges are not there to stop you. They're there to shape you. They're there to build your resilience, your resourcefulness, your strength. The obstacle is the path. And when you anticipate it, you no longer see it as a problem. You see it as training. You see it as preparation for the bigger future you're building. I remember someone once told me, I'll go after my dream when things settle down. I laughed and said, then you'll never go after it because things don't settle down. You get stronger, you get smarter, you get prepared. That's the truth. You don't wait for life to be easy. You rise to the challenge. You anticipate the storms. You remind yourself that storms don't last forever, but strong people do. So tomorrow morning, don't just hope for a smooth day. Don't just say, I'll see what happens. Ask yourself directly, what could stop me today? The distraction, the temptation, the excuse, the setback that might show up. And how will I overcome it? And then decide in advance. Because when you've already made the decision, you don't hesitate. You don't get pulled off track. You respond with strength, with certainty, with power. And when you start living like that, nothing can stop you. Because the world will throw obstacles at you, but you'll already be ready. Readiness is the difference between those who fall and those who rise. Every morning is a reset button, no matter what happened yesterday. Whether you crushed it or whether you fell flat, you wake up with a clean slate. One of the most important questions you can ask yourself at the start of that clean slate is this: who do I want to become today? That question is everything, because most people walk into their day thinking only about what they have to do. The tasks, the chores, the meetings, the deadlines, and that's fine, but it's surface level. It doesn't shape you. It doesn't give you the power to grow. But when you ask, who do I want to become today? You go deeper. You step out of the trap of just doing and step into the power of becoming. You stop living life as a checklist and start living life as a transformation. Think about it every day. You're either reinforcing who you've been, you're creating who you want to be. There's no middle ground. If you don't consciously choose who you're becoming, you're unconsciously repeating your past. And if you repeat your past long enough, your future looks exactly the same. That's why people feel stuck, because they're living the same identity over and over. But if you wake up and ask yourself, who do I want to become today? You start stepping into a new identity. And identity is what drives everything. See, you can force yourself to do something for a while, but real change sticks when it's tied to who you believe you are. If you want to be disciplined, you don't just tell yourself, I'll try to be disciplined today. You declare, I am someone who honors my word. I am someone who does what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not. If you want to be a leader, you don't just wait until the title shows up. You wake up and say, I am a leader today. I lead through my actions, my energy, my example. If you want to be loving, you don't wait until someone deserves it. You wake up and say, I am love today. I will bring compassion, patience, and kindness, no matter what comes at me. That's what this question unlocks. It forces you to stop living as a reaction and start living as a creator. You're not asking, what do I have to face? You're asking, am I bringing to the table to face it? And that's a powerful shift, because circumstances are unpredictable. Challenges are unpredictable. But who you choose to be, that's always in your control. Let's get real. This isn't about perfection. It's not about waking up and thinking you have to reinvent yourself completely every day. It's about small, consistent shifts in identity that compound over time. If every morning you ask, do I want to become today? And you choose just one quality, one value, one part of yourself to strengthen, imagine where you'll be in a year. Imagine where you'll be in 5 years. Because life isn't about what you get. It's about who you become in the process. And I'll tell you this, the world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. You can want success. If you don't become someone who can handle success, you'll sabotage it. You can want love. But if you don't become someone who gives love freely, you'll push it away. You can want freedom. If you don't become someone who disciplines themselves, you'll never sustain it. Wanting isn't enough. Becoming is everything. This is why the morning is sacred. The morning is when your mind is most open, most clear, before the noise of the world floods in. That's when you get to decide who you're going to be before the day tries to decide for you. If you wait until the chaos hits, you'll default to old patterns. But if you lock in your identity at the start, can throw chaos at you, and you'll stay grounded. You'll act from your chosen self, not your conditioned self. Let's be practical. If you ask yourself this question tomorrow morning, who do I want to become today? What might that look like? Maybe today you decide, I want to become someone who doesn't just think about themselves, someone who lifts others up. That means you go through your day looking for chances to encourage, to support, to help. And by the end of the day, you've reinforced an identity of generosity. Maybe today you decide, I want to become someone who keeps promises to themselves. That means you honor your commitments, even the small ones, even when it's uncomfortable. And by the end of the day, you've reinforced an identity of integrity. Maybe today you decide, I want to become someone who doesn't run from challenges, but runs toward them. That means when the tough call comes, when the tough conversation shows up, you step into it with courage. And by the end of the day, you've reinforced an identity of strength. Day by day, identity by identity. That's how transformation happens. Not through giant leaps, but through daily choices of who you are becoming. I want you to hear me on this. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your identity. If you see yourself as limited, you'll live limited. If you see yourself as powerful, you'll live powerful. If you see yourself as a victim, you'll find proof everywhere that the world is against you. But if you see yourself as a creator, you'll find proof everywhere that the world is shaping you, preparing you, building you. Who you become determines how you see, how you act, how you live. Here's the beauty of it. Identity isn't fixed. It's not permanent. It's a choice. You're not trapped by who you were yesterday. You're not chained to the mistakes you made last week. Every morning you're handed the pen, you get to decide who you're going to be in this chapter. And if you keep making that choice consciously, you won't just change your mornings, you'll change your entire life. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't just ask, do I need to get done? Ask the deeper question, who do I want to become today? Because when you live from that place, your actions align, your focus sharpens, and your life moves in the direction of your highest self. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you did that matters most. It's who you became while doing it,